Hello and welcome to Chromebook News, the place where you get all the latest news about ChromeOS and the Chromebook. I'm sure many of you have heard of the Chromebook, which is a laptop that runs ChromeOS, but I'm sure there's also plenty of people who prefer the desktop version, which is called the Chromebox. It's a much smaller desktop than you would get as a traditional desktop PC. I've got one, I absolutely love it. It's great for using on the desk, it's more productive. And there's a new Chromebox come out from Asus, the Asus CX5, and there's a bit of a difference compared to the other previous Chromeboxes we've seen. Revealed at the latest CES show, the Asus Chromebox 5 not only looks much nicer with its curved edges, it's also got wireless charging, which is great. So at the moment, one thing I can't really get on with is the fact that on my desk there's wires everywhere, and some wires you have to deal with, but wires, say for charging your phone, you've got a socket for your phone, you have to look for the wire to charge your phone. With the new Asus 5 Chromebox, you can just get your phone, pop it on top of the Chromebox, and it would do wireless charging, which is fantastic. It just gets rid of that need for having extra wires on your desk, and it would just make your office space just so much nicer and neater. So that's a great new feature, and it shows that Asus and other manufacturers see that the Chromebox is something people want. Quite a few years ago, the Chromebook dominated, and it still does, but the Chromebox is a great desktop computer. It comes with the latest 12th generation processor, and I'm sure it'll be available in many different configurations when it comes to RAM and storage. You would have noticed over the last year or so, the ChromeOS team has spent some time on changing how the Chromebook looks and feels. First of all, it was the new app launcher menu, the start menu on your Chromebook. I much prefer the new start menu. I know some people prefer the old menu. You could go back to the old menu using a flag, but that has now gone, unfortunately. So you do need to start using the new start menu. You can't use the old menu. Something else that will be changing in the future, and I'm hoping most people will see this as a positive thing, is Material U. Now, Material U is what you would see on your Android phone if you're using the latest Android 12 phone. You would see that the Material U is used when you go into your settings. It looks really nice, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's got colors, you can change the colors, and that will be being brought to the Chromebook, ChromeOS, and hopefully we should be seeing that in the next few months. They've been working on it now for quite some time, so we should see that come out in the next few months, and it will completely change how your Chromebook settings look, mainly from the settings that you get to from when you go down to the bottom right of your ChromeOS desktop. And I think this is where Google is going. They're trying to get the Chromebook and Android to get as close together as possible, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's got a separate operating system, so it can still obviously do a lot different things than what you could just do with your Android phone, but making them work together and making them look more like each other is better in a way, because it makes it easier for people to go from using an Android phone to a Chromebook. So I think it's a really good move that Google has done there. I did a video a few months ago to show that you can now edit your PDFs on ChromeOS, which is great. Something else that will be coming in the future, and I found this on the aboutchromebooks.com website, is character recognition when you scan in your photos into scanning documents, should I say, rather than photos. So documents with text, if you scan them, or if you receive PDFs in the future, it will be able to recognize the text. So it'd be character recognition. If you've not used it before, essentially what it does, instead of just sending you a PDF document where you can read the text, it actually recognizes the text, and then you can use that text in a text format. So that's something that may be really beneficial to people in the future. And if you want to know more about that, you can head on over to aboutchromebooks.com, where I found that article. So I mentioned earlier about the Chromebox, another ChromeOS computer that you have available, but it's not as popular as the Chromebook, and it's not as popular as the Chromebox, is the Chrome base. I've never actually owned a Chrome base. A few years ago, if you had to look to see if you wanted to buy a Chrome base, they were quite cheap and tacky looking, so I would never have considered buying one. And there's some people who like the idea of a Chrome base and some people who don't. A Chrome base, essentially, you get your desktop display, so you've got your monitor and you've got all the computer components within inside the monitor as well. So it gives you a really neat computer setup. Some people are not sure whether it's for them, and that's because if your display breaks, for example, you haven't just got to replace the display, the display also has your computer inside, so you've got to replace the whole unit. So I totally understand that, but at the same time, if you're looking for a really smart, neat setup, then a Chromebase may be the option for you. And the good news is, over the last few years, they have got much better. Acer brought one out a few years ago, and that looked really smart compared to what we had previously. And then HP brought out their Chromebase, which looks really nice. That looks really super sexy. Love that one. And I love the fact that you can use it in landscape mode, and you can also twist the monitor around, and you can have it in portrait mode. Looks really, really cool. Now obviously HP brought that out, and Acer don't want to be left behind, so Acer's brought out a new Chromebase. It is a Chromebase with a slight difference. It's the Acer Chromebase CX15 add-in-one. At first I thought, was that a mistake? Is it the all-in-one? But it is the add-in-one, and the reason why it's the add-in-one is that you get a display, and the display is obviously an Acer display, but you can have a connection on the back, and they've made a purpose-built Chromebox for it, and that connects to the back. So essentially it's an all-in-one device. But unlike other Chromebases, if say the display breaks, you could replace the display, or if you want to get a new Chromebox a few years down the line, you can simply use an attachment, take that Chromebox out and put a new one in. So that's something that may be interesting as well. It's slightly different to the Chromebase, but it still gives you that all-in-one feel. But it gets rid of any of that anxiety of, I don't want to buy a Chromebase because if the display breaks, I've got to replace the whole unit, or if the computer breaks, I've got to think about also replacing the display. So it removes that. So that is something I would have a look at if you want a Chromebase type computer, but you're not really wanting it all together. Have a look at the Acer Chromebook CX15. And that's it for this edition of Chromebook News. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like below and subscribe to the channel for future videos. And thanks for watching.